Hello and welcome. I have my special guest Shane, and
Well, hi.
it's been requested that I have my special friend Shane, uh, because I had asked on my channel some ideas for some content because I had been kind of struggling. And Steve Kookaburra, I know that he was watching a Gunkles live stream, and I continually called him Kookaburra because it was Steve K something. Sorry, Steve, I forgot the last name. But he said, I think you and Shane should do a video and talk about going to record stores because if you've watched the channel, you guys know that I've known Shane since God was a baby, and or we were babies. We met in high school, and music is really kind of what brought us together. I think our friendship blossomed from him having erasure written on his notebook, and it started off a conversation. And we've had a lifetime of memories through music and friendship. So, um, we're going to just kind of talk about some of the adventures we went on trying to obtain said music because in those days you couldn't just download it. You had to actually go to a record store, or sometimes we had to go to Walmart because that was the only thing we had near us where we grew up. There wasn't a lot in our area. We had like record stores or music stores pop up every once in a while, but they never lasted because there was that one in
Yeah,
Sholo for a while, and I don't
yeah,
even think it was. I know that that's where I bought Madonna's Erotica.
yeah. I was in
In
that
one of the
dome
domes.
building.
Yeah, in one of the
Yeah,
domes. Yeah. But I don't think that that was there more than 2 years. And I think you might have already moved by that point.
yeah. I don't remember ever going to it,
Yeah,
so
so
that was
I would
sad.
go because Shola was what, like 15, 20 minutes from where we grew up. So
Yeah,
I would, when that record store was there, I would go there like on release days and see it. Half the time they didn't have what I wanted, but yeah, I remember getting erotica there. But Shane wasn't with me, so that story is not important. But just to kind of tell you that we had to actually drive to the Phoenix area to actually go to a record store, which was 3.5 hours from where we grew up. So it was definitely an adventure. High school kids trying to figure out how to go and get hotel rooms, and then or that little shit
yeah,
that we stayed in that your dad.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess we could have tried to go to like Flagstaff, but we didn't really know that area, and we just never.
Yeah, Flagstaff was probably, and they had a mall in Flagstaff, and I'm sure like it was Warehouse or Sam Goody or something like that was in. Because I know when I
Probably.
went with my family, we would go in the mall, and I always went into
Hmm.
the record shops there, which I was either Warehouse or Sam Goody.
Yeah,
Um,
I I just wasn't familiar with Flagstaff at all, so it was never my first thought.
yeah. So, I mean, one of the like first memories of really us going somewhere with something in mind that we wanted to get, it was like we ditched school and we drove to Walmart
Yeah.
thinking maybe because they had the music section and thinking maybe we could go get Erasure Wild. Oh, cassette version, of course.
Yes, the cassettes.
And after we talked about this the other day, Shane, and after you were talking about, I remember we did both get a copy of this. It was the other one that we were talking about that we had to share. Um,
Yeah.
but they amazingly enough had two copies of Wild, and well, tell them about what happened when we were going to pull into the Walmart area.
Yes. So in those days, my family um, had very little money, and so my dad had convinced somebody. They have those things where they sell off like excess merchandise from the army and navy and stuff like that. He had purchased uh, a van that they had used to like haul troops around. It was very stripped down. brown van with, windows all over the place. People call them maybe fish tank because you can just see everything in there.
That
It
van.
had no, yeah, it had no carpet. It just had like the rubber mat stuff on the ground. It had an AM radio. The AC and the heat worked, so at least there was that. But um, it was just a crap van, and we would sometimes, if my mom, because she wasn't working at the time, she didn't need the van, we would take it to school. The school from where we lived was like literally like a half a mile, but we're
You got to drive
that
to
lazy,
school.
so
Yeah, you got to drive to school. I mean, that was the cool part of having your license being in school is that, oh, you get to drive to school. And I very rarely got to drive to school. My
yeah.
parents were not nice.
So we took that van, whatever day it was, we decided, I don't know how or why we figured it out. We were just like, we're going to be bad. And we um, took the van up to Sholo. The it was it doesn't really snow that much in Snowpike, which you would think that it would, but it if it did, it was usually melted by the next day.
Yeah.
But in Sholo, it was much higher elevation, and
Yeah.
so they would keep snow for a long time. Um, you had to go down through downtown and then turn and go up the other hill, and it was a little bit up that way. It was where the Walmart was, and to turn into the parking lot, you had to turn in the left lane, and the roads were still pretty snow packed or ice packed. So we get to the intersection, and I'm just pushing on the brake to to make the left hand turn, and the wheels probably had stopped, but the vehicle did not.
Oh no, we did this.
Yeah,
We
at least once around.
yeah.
I remember looking at one of my fellow drivers, and they were looking at me like, "Don't you hit my car?" I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It
"I'm
was
not trying
so
to."
yeah, it was so like yeah, well, so many reasons because number one, we were ditching school
Yeah, so
and we were,
bad karma.
yeah, and we were not supposed to be driving to the Walmart during school time, let alone like your parents would not have allowed us to do that. I mean, they would let us
Yeah,
go to Sholo and stuff in the van, but they had to know about it, not in the middle of school. And yeah, and so if we would have been in an accident, that would have not been pretty.
yeah, that would have been a bad thing to happen. So, but that was the fun thing. We got into the store and we found the two copies, and we were so excited
Mm. Well,
to
yeah, and you
actually
did
have
not
the.
have, you're right. There was just the AM radio in there. And so I'm pretty sure that we brought like a boom box or something because we would bring
Yeah,
like and I just remember like we put it on and what does it start with?
it starts
Uh,
with piano song, and then it
Piano
goes into
Song.
Blue
Blue
Savannah,
Savannah, yeah.
or the
But
the instrumental piano
yeah,
song anyway.
and then it goes into Blue, you're right, Blue Savannah. And I just remember us thinking of how different and
Wow,
how
this is so
it
different.
did not sound like Erasure at all, and especially like how many times when he sings in that lower
Oh yeah,
register
when he gets that
that
his
he
lower
never we've
voice.
never heard him sing in that register before. I hear it now, and it's just like yeah, it's Erasure. It
Yeah.
does not sound anything different to me in their catalog, but I just remember being like, oh my gosh, this is so different. This is so just different than anything they've ever done before.
Yeah,
Um,
that was pretty amazing. I remember listening to it like over and over again, like
mm,
several times. And back in the day when we used to get the albums and we used to listen to them over and over again because they were good,
yeah,
and we would learn the songs, and really by third or fourth listen, we're already singing along. And
yeah, and
not like the
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, not like the Taylor Swift stuff where it the first verse, because that's
Well,
just
yeah, because
repeat
it's
stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff.
well, that's pretty common now. But and actually, if you think about a lot of the music that we did listen to back in the day, you didn't think that it repeated as much as it did, but it
Probably, but
does. But
I'm
but
being
we
a
didn't
I'm being a
think of it
snob.
that way. We didn't. Um, Yeah, and then I mean, we went to Walmart quite a bit because to the music section again, they just had cassettes and CDs. They did not have records there. And at
Well,
that
at
time,
that time, it was just they had the racks and racks of the cassettes, and then they had like this little bitty section that's like, oh, here's some of the CDs.
oh yeah, and then they were in the long boxes too at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was the back in the day
I
when
remember looking at it all the time, and the first CD that I ever bought was Catching Up with Depeche Mode. And I remember seeing it there every time we went up there, and I wanted it so bad. Finally, at some point, I bought it. I don't remember, but I
yeah,
was like, oh, I want that CD.
I think the well, I ended up because I did the BMG or Columbia House or whatever, so I ended up having like, you know, 20 CDs before I ever even had a CD player. And
Oh
we were doing
yeah.
that. We were buying CDs before we even had CD players because we knew eventually we would have one.
Oh, I know. I
And
remember going to your store and begging your mom to let us record the CDs onto cassettes so we could
yeah,
at least listen to them.
that's what we would do. We would buy the CDs and then we would go because my parents owned a Radio Shack and we would go and record our CDs onto cassette tapes. And
Mm,
then we would actually break into there sometimes too. Like I'd find the keys
and
and
that's
we'd go,
well, I guess it doesn't matter because
they're
your
dead.
parents are
So it,
dead.
yeah, it just really
You're
like,
not supposed to say
and I'm
that.
sure that they knew like, yeah, my parents are not, they weren't dumb. They knew when we were being bad children, but there were a lot of times that we were in the store doing the recordings and stuff like that. That the mother knew we were there, and a lot of times
Yeah,
she was there with us, and then telling us to hurry up so we can go home. But
yeah, because
um,
she was bored or hungry.
well, and we were listening to all that devil music, so
Oh yeah,
she did not like, especially The Cure. But
this doesn't
uh,
sound like the Andrews sisters.
no, no, poor mother or the Statler brothers, but yeah, and then Walmart. The only other thing I remember is when we heard Book of Love for the first time from our friend Sean, who wasn't really our
Yeah,
friend, but he played.
R.I.P.
Yeah, he played the tape, their debut album, in my drama class, and I was like, "Oh, Shane, this is really cool." Like I told him all about it, and so we went to
Yeah,
Walmart to see if we could find it, and we found
we found
the
this one.
second album, Lullaby, but
Lullaby.
we did not find. And
Yeah, we
Shane
didn't
is doing
find
all
the
the visuals
debut.
because I was just so late. I'm like, I just don't have time to go through my stuff. So most of this is just, but he has some visuals for us. So thank you, Shane, for having visuals and being prepared in the homework.
Well, thank you.
I was not prepared in the homework, but that's okay. Yeah, so and they had Lullaby, and that was the one that they only had one copy, and we had to share the tape.
Yeah.
And we would do that. I feel like sometimes like we would also buy like, we both wanted this album, but I'd buy one and you'd buy the other. So we would, share and go back and forth and make copies and all of that fun stuff. But
Yeah, and then we would, cut them up and turn them into mix CDs or mixtapes because we didn't have CDs recorders at the time.
we did not.
Um, One thing I remember that you were there, but I don't think we really bought it at the same time. We were at Stinkweeds right when this album came out, the ABBA-esque EP. Um, I just remember because it had barely come out in like England or whatever. It wasn't out in the States yet, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, you already have it?" I'm like, "Yes, because I'm special."
Inkweed imports. I think that's why we went there a lot too, is because they would have the imports that we couldn't
Oh yeah,
uh, in other places.
exactly. So I think I know we've been to them a bunch of times. We went
I
to
mean, we went to Tower in Mesa, like
well, I remember there was one time, I don't think you were with me. I just had heard that Nine Inch Nails had a new album and I didn't know if it was out. I just assumed if I had heard about it, then it was probably out. So I remember driving all the way down to Mesa to see if I could find it. and it was not out at that time that I tried to find it. But at some point, we did end up driving down to go find it, and of course, it was
It
the
was
CD at the time,
the city of
but
choice.
the CD of our choice. But now I have the vinyl because we can.
Yeah, we have to have the vinyl, the everything. So
Yes.
there was, yeah, I mean, Tower Records, we went to a lot, especially that one in Mesa. And then when we were both later
Oh
at
yeah.
T, then that really like we very rarely even went to the one in Mesa once we were both living in the Tempe area, or we always went there, but we would meet up and but the one in Mesa, I just remember the cassette singles were really easy to steal. So I when we went there, I was a notorious shoplifter back then, and because I was broke and don't worry,
Yeah.
it bit me in the butt, and I got in a lot of trouble years later. So um and what's funny is I would never like even consider trying to do anything like that, but I did consider myself like one of the best shoplifters in the world. Shoplifters of the world unite and take over. That was me.
Yes.
um,
Yeah, I remember you would take the cassettes or CDs or whatever from the CD section at the Walmart, take them over to the toy section, and then have to, stress out the plastic or whatever to get it out of there.
oh
And
yeah, yeah. I used to actually, it was so good. I sold long box CDs, and
oh yeah,
oh yeah, I'd get them down my pants.
oh yeah,
I actually stole a record once.
oh
How the
really,
hell I was able, because there was that Bashers for a while. Remember they had like those
oh yeah,
3.99 records? The
hmm
record's still in it was Club Nouveau. But I mean I think I had a jacket. And I think
oh
actually it was I had two of them. It was that and Glass Tiger. I still have them both.
that's
Um,
funny. Yeah. I was
and
gonna say I know that you couldn't have stuffed those down your pants. I know you got a
No,
big
I
old
did not.
butt,
So
but
I'm pretty sure I had that. Remember that really ugly big green jacket that I had?
oh
It's
yeah,
very
hmm
puffy. Oh, it was
oh
so
yeah.
hideous, but I thought it was so cool. Oh God, when I see pictures of that jacket, it's not pretty. But yeah, I stuffed it in the front and I just walked out. But yeah, no, the long boxes, I'd stuff them down my pants. Like Delight, I know that was I stole that CD. Yeah, I was bad. I was a bad kid. I don't, this really probably wasn't supposed to be about my shoplifting days, but like,
No,
I feel like maybe not everybody shoplifted, but people did things when they were younger that maybe they're not so proud of now. But
yeah, I have taken things, but I don't remember trying to get long boxes.
yeah, I mean, and it definitely like, I think with like a lot of our friends and stuff, everybody knew what a good shoplifter I was. It's like, well, just take Craig; he'll get it for us. So I would be, but yeah, I mean, I got caught as an adult and got in a lot of trouble and had to pay a lot of money. And
Oh,
that was early 20s. And I have never shoplifted ever again since then because,
yeah.
and I was stupid and I know that,
It
but
just shows you if you want something, you know how you're gonna get it in one way or another.
well, that was my mentality at the time, but it's like now if you want something, you have to actually work and make money to get it, and there's no such thing as free.
Yeah. Except for in the early '90s when we had Napster, and then all of a sudden we could just download everything for free.
Well, that was 2000, wasn't it?
Is that what I said?
You said early 90s.
Oh, that's why I meant early 2000s. Anyway, we all know what I meant, and I'm
Yes,
stupid.
I knew what you meant, and you knew what you meant, and that's okay. It's all
Anyway,
coconuts, but yeah. So just, I mean, most of this is just us kind of reminiscing, but like, I think one of the great things about our friendship is that it started with music and it still continues to be music. We I mean, everybody's seen my vinyl find
um,
videos when Shane is in town. We've done collaborations before. Um, we we don't get together and don't go to a music
Yeah,
store.
we can't stand each other outside of music.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
no, no, but I mean, it's something that I think we're both so passionate about and we love so much, and it's something that
Uh,
just it started at a very young age that we shared a commonality, and you know, we share music with each other. Sometimes each other likes, and so you know, there's stuff that I like that Shane's like, I don't know why you like that. Taylor Swift. And then there's, you know, and there's stuff that he really, really likes that I'm like, well, it's all right, but you know, I really don't get it. But then there's things that we're just like, wow, you know, when we share that with each other.
yeah,
Because I mean, I've definitely
those.
learned stuff from him. Um, I might have been a little more the teacher on some things, but
Oh, you were definitely more of the teacher on a lot of things, but every once in a while I would stumble across something, and it was totally by luck, or
I think a
I
lot of
think
you. Sorry, go
what
ahead.
was that? What was that? DAF, that band. The only reason I even heard about them was because there were some hot guys on the cover of the album.
Who?
That DAF, that German weird,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
and it was like I didn't even buy the one that had the hot guys on it because I couldn't afford it. So I bought this earlier album that was just like it sounds like somebody's plinking at a little toy piano and saying German words over it. And I was just like, I don't know why anybody would buy this, but I did. uh, I think one of the other times that when we went to go find an album, we went and we found I Say by Erasure. I have the vinyl too, but I also wanted to show this is the um, special CD pack that they
Oh yeah,
released
the
that has
pop-up, right? Yeah.
the pop up oh castle thing. You can't really tell on the camera, but it's like 3D. It's kind of like, and it's really cool. But yeah, there was so many times that we would, and even now, like when I was there in February for your birthday, we just go to the record store and hang out for however long it takes for you mostly to go through all the albums that
Yeah,
you're
because
looking
I do
for.
have to
And
go through pretty much everything, but you know, because I don't want to miss out, you know, FOMO.
yeah, you
Um,
sometimes you have to do the digging
you
to
really
find
have
those
to dig.
little
You really
treasures
do.
because they never put them in the right order, and you're just like stumble across like,
Yeah.
oh,
Well,
they have
that's
Samantha
I
Fox.
think so many people too. You go right to the new arrivals of like the new used because it's like you never know what's going to be in that section.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
um it's always a treat. Uh, I'm trying to think of, I mean, obviously we were talking about, you know, concerts and stuff like that too. You just saw The Cure last night. Second, I think my third concert was The Cure with you.
Yeah.
We saw them, and I'll tell you, I've got my lovely book here that's got
Oh
most
yeah.
concert stubs in it. So I have some visual. There you
Oh
go.
wow.
Um, Yeah, I don't have my step for my second concert, which to make everybody jealous, my very second concert was Warrant and Trickster and Firehouse, but not with Shane. She did
Wow.
not go to that show with me, but I did go to
No.
the first concert with Shane, which, do you know when we went, Shane? It was April 29th. So it was
Was
almost
it? Oh wow.
1991. That is when we
Seems like
saw Book of Love at
I
after
swear it can't be that long.
at after the gold rush.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Building doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah. And then so then we saw The Cure, the Cranes opened for them.
Mm,
And I remember thinking they were groovy, but the chick, like, I was just like, you couldn't understand it. It was worse than the Cocktail Twins. You could not understand a damn thing she was saying.
yeah.
Like early Lush. And that was June 19th, 1992.
Was it 92? I was thinking 93, but yeah, it was.
92. Yeah. 93 was Depeche Mode.
Oh
At
yes.
the Vets Memorial Coliseum, which probably has a different name now because The Cure was at America West Arena, which it's not called that anymore, right? Or does it even exist?
No, the building's there. I don't remember who buys it. Oh, is the name for it now? But yeah, the building for Veterans Memorial Coliseum is still there because it's on the property of the where they do the state fair.
Hmm.
But nobody, other than the bands that perform at the state fair, nobody even goes in there anymore because it's just an old building.
And then November 18th, 1993, at 7:30 p.m., it doesn't tell us who the opener was, but I feel like it was the same people we saw with them. Um, it was Depeche Mode, and that was
Yeah, I
the
think
first time we saw them. And was that the or was the in excess?
that was in excess. I know at least two of the times that we've seen Depeche Mode, it was the
Stabbing West.
yeah, Stabbing Westward.
Well, actually, it was. It was both times that because we saw him in November of '93, and then we saw him again in May of '94, and that was both
Yeah, it was
for the Songs of Faith and Devotion tour.
like the beginning of that tour and then the end of
And
that
then
tour, they
ended it.
decided to come back to the States.
I think they started in Phoenix and they ended in Phoenix, if I'm remembering correctly. That
Yeah,
I could be wrong. But yeah, Stabbing Westward opened that. And then I actually saw Depeche Mode in '99 in Seattle, but not with you, but with Christy.
yeah, I don't
And
remember if I saw them that year.
Stabbing Westward opened for him. So I saw 93, 94, and 99, and Stabbing Westward opened for them each time.
Need
Uh,
to find some Stabbing Westward. I don't have any other.
yeah, I was trying to think of some of their music the other day, and I don't even remember. Like, I know we had that one album of theirs. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look them up and see if I would actually like them. Um, yeah, INXS was in April of '94, and I'm pretty sure that was the.
Yeah, I can't imagine that it wouldn't have been.
And then on August 27th, 1994, at the Blockbuster Desert Sky, and that's actually where we saw Depeche Mode the second time. Oh,
Yeah,
I thought they were at the same venue both times. I guess I didn't realize that.
no, yeah, I remember they were the second time they were at Desert Sky
Yeah, and NXS was at
or whatever it's called now.
yeah. That is when we rain or shine. We saw Disco Fever.
It's very
Yes.
true.
Village People, Thelma Houston, Sister Sledge, The Tramps, and there were really drunk people in front of us that got their beer all over us.
Yeah, we love them.
I think Charlotte went with us, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Didn't she like get sick or something? I can't remember, but it's so many, many years. Let me see. I've got lots here that you did not go to with me, but let's um oh, so Sunday, March 23rd, 2003, at the Paramount Theater in Seattle. Can you take a guess who we saw?
that was my first time seeing Erasure.
And that was my first time seeing Erasure.
Oh,
Mm. And then we saw them at the Showbox in
seen them every time they've come through since then, I think.
2006, so May 13th. And let's see, at the Moore in 2007. Wait, I'm missing one, I think.
I know there was some concerts that, I mean, even now they don't even provide tickets anymore. They
Yeah,
just
I know they don't. It's
send you a link.
because we can't keep this stuff. I can't have them in my book.
Not the email.
Yeah. Send me an email, say I love you. Oh, that's another video. Um, where is it? The more. I said the more. Oh, the Showbox, right? I said Showbox. I already said that one. That was 2006. That's when we saw them acoustic.
Yes.
And that's probably my favorite. And then we saw them at the Moore in 2007.
Who needs love like that?
Oh God, who needs love like that? Who needs love like that? I swear there was another time. We were supposed to see them last year, but they freaking
Canceled because Vince's wife was having medical problems. So we forgive them.
yeah, but still,
I know.
you should just come. A lot of shows. Oh yes, this was a good time. April 28th, 2012 in Viva Las Vegas when we saw
Who
my
was that?
Matt Goss
Oh yeah.
from Bras. Oh,
That was a crazy, crazy night.
that was, and it was like last minute too, right? We just kind of like, oh, well, maybe we should see if we could get tickets.
Yeah, I had seen something that he was performing there, and I just looked it up, and I was like, well, he's going to be kind of performing while we're there. And it was just kind of like, well, maybe we should see if we can go. And we just got the tickets, and it was a very unusual show because it was not what I was expecting. Because you listen to Bros music, and it's very
It's
uh,
poppy and
pop and
boy
kind of
bands and
boy bandy, and then he performs very jazz bluesy kind of
the
whatever.
very, very like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin-esque and loungy. And
Yeah,
when he did the Bros songs, like When Will I Be Famous and I Quit and I Owe You Nothing, I was dying. I was
yeah,
dying. It's like, oh my God, I love this
yeah.
man.
That evil song came on the other day when I was listening to stuff, and I was just, oh, I love this
Oh,
song. I
it's
forgot about that.
so good. It's so good. And then at the Desert Sky Pavilion in 2013, October 8th, the day before my parents' anniversary, we saw Depeche Mode for the Delta Machine tour.
Yeah, that was where we brought had extra tickets, so we
Yeah, Christian
had
went with us. Yeah.
Christian came with us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And, then we saw The Cure again in May 28th, 2016. So the same month.
yeah. That's probably my favorite concert because we got Craig and I got some. A friend of his gave him some
There's
VIP
our
tickets. Yeah,
VIP passes. Yep.
and
Oh, and then I
we
have
got
Tucker right
we
under.
got special parking. We got to go back into this little tent area and have some food, and we had a box that was just for us. And who are the other people that were in there besides Kim and
Jessica.
and Jessica? Wasn't there somebody else that was with us? People that you knew or something?
Oh, Pam. She was across the way though, but she did come
Oh,
say hi.
but yeah, that was probably my favorite concert just because that whole night was special.
It was.
And then the
Well,
next,
and it was because you know, we saw them in 92, and that was when, The Cure was everything in the world to me. Like there no other band mattered. Robert Smith was God. There was that was my entire being was The Cure. I wore Cure t-shirts every single day of my life. I was just, well, I still do, not every single day, but I sport one every once in a while. Um, but yeah, just so to see that, and I'd always been really worried about seeing them again because I thought maybe it might taint that memory. And
mm,
then when they were coming to Portland, it was like, well, I can't go if Shane's not there. Like it was like I cannot go see them. Like, and if things would have worked out, I would have been with him last night. But unfortunately, the timing. I've got a work trip coming up, and there was just no way I could go at this time. But
mm.
if I could have been, I would. But we're gonna see Depeche Mode in November, so
Yeah, if I could have, because the way that the Cure did it this time, they had this like random lottery where you could get a code to do the pre-sale for one of their shows. And I put in for like Chicago and Denver and Seattle and Phoenix and even Albuquerque just to see if I could get something that was closer. And I got chosen for the Phoenix one. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to the Phoenix one,
Mm,
which was nice because then I just got to drive and I got to sleep in my own bed afterwards.
that's true. That's true. Uh, yeah, so just lots of concerts and I mean, like I said, we're still making memories when it comes to music because the going to the record stores like that really has been I mean, when I was in Seattle, it's like same thing. You knew you were coming down. We were going to record stores. It's like Shane had to bring in an extra suitcase with him so he could take his records back, which he has to do when he comes here too. But um, I mean, I do that when if I fly places and I know there's going to be record stores, I do the same thing. I make sure I bring extra luggage so I can bring it back with me. It's my carry-on. I got my little bag and I'm ready to go. So,
Mm, it's very, yeah,
any other
been good
fun
memories.
memories that I mean, I probably should have been a little more prepared with some visuals, but there's just so much, it's just like but really in those those high school years, if you want to call them that, or
Yeah.
20s, I just the adventure of it, because again you couldn't just go, oh, I want to hear this song and listen to it on your phone or listen to it on your computer. We had to search, and that's where I think we learned a lot of music is by I'll never fucking forget when you came back. You went to Phoenix one time. I think it was one time with me. Shane comes back with this maxi CD single of someone called Alien Sex Fiend, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it's like Alien Sex Fiend. Now I'm feeling zombified. What is this? And it's like, and I love it. It is so good, but it's like I would have never heard of Alien Sex Fiend unless Shane happened to like see it. Oh, this is interesting, but I mean, there's things like Darlene Buds. Like we would not have if I didn't like their name. I was like,
Mm,
oh, the Darling, I like that name. I'm going to order this CD because we did that a lot too. We would order, from Columbia House and BMG because,
mm,
again, we didn't really have a lot of places we could go to. We had to travel, a few hours to get there. Um, so we just said, oh, that name sounds nice. It did not always work. There was quite a few times.
yeah, that's true. Like that, like that DAF thing. You're just kind of like,
Yeah.
why do we buy
Yeah. Why?
this?
But I mean, it worked with like Tori Amos, um, because that was like the reason.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the reason I ordered that, it was when I find it interesting that they had an EP on BMG or Columbia House. I know that's where I got it, but it was the Crucify EP, and I remember reading it,
mm,
and I liked the picture. I liked her red hair, and I thought it was interesting.
yeah,
She had onions, as her necklace there, and that's interesting. But she was doing a cover of Smells Like Teen Spirit, and I'm like, I'm gonna order this, and then yeah, that's
yeah. And it
something that
turned out,
really
wow,
needs to be put on vinyl. Is that Crucify EP? They
I
really,
know.
um,
Why they can't just give us what we want instead of?
they don't. They're never going to give us what we want. Why can't The Cure give us releases that aren't on picture disc?
That's true.
I mean, I will say they don't sound terrible, but why? Why do they need to be on picture disc? It's so
I don't know. They need to release three versions of everything so that way we give them more money.
um, uh,
And it's not that the Cure makes more money off of it; it's the record label.
yeah. I mean, they're remastered by Robert, so I guess you got that right.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would imagine that most of these bands don't have no input on their stuff, but it just seems like it's mostly like record companies would be like, "Oh, we need to do another best of because we need more money from your
How many
back catalog."
how many more best ofs can you do? Like, I don't know. I was looking at like Dolly's catalog or something like that, and it was like 200 and something compilations. I was like, I probably have like 40 of those, but I'm like, I she did 200 and something compilations, and
Wow,
I don't think I'm exaggerating. It was it
that's
was it
crazy.
was insane amount of number, but she also has like the hundred and something albums or something like that. So,
That's true. She
but
can't stop herself.
she's been recording since 1966. So, well, first album came out in 67, I think, but I don't know. Let's not make another video about Dolly Craig. Um, right.
Right.
Oh yeah, so fun times. Good times
Yay.
by all. Any other words of wisdoms or thoughts or memories that
No, I think we've shared most of them. I'm sure I'd probably think of something if I had a lot of time, but then
well
your
probably
viewers would be asleep.
and we'll probably think of something later, but who knows? Never
Yeah, maybe we'll have to do a part two.
maybe. And maybe this wasn't what Kookaburra wanted, but we're trying Kookaburra. So uh,
Thank you, Kookaburra Laughs.
Kookaburra, yeah. So
Yay,
hope
your life must be.
yeah, our lovely friends, we hope you enjoyed this and be sure to comment and do fun giggly goo goo things like that.
Shall I subscribe?
Yes, like and subscribe and tell us we're awesome.
Share, comment, like, and subscribe. Shall I subscribe?
And as always, thanking you. Did it? I didn't stop it. Whoops. Okay, thanking you.